What's up, guys? How you doing, YouTubers? Hey, I want to let y'all know my son is practicing to be a YouTuber next to me. Huh? You want to show him? See, this is it. So, I shouldn't be showing him this. 10 disturbing interviews with the evil people part 2. Okay? So it's really crazy. It's really crazy. So let's listen to what's going on.
Daniel.
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no.
He killed the girl. Check this out. I forgot how it went. The girl was. He was making it seem like the girl was dead all along. He didn't know what happened, but he been knew it. And he made us, I guess, some stuff about the news and saying, I don't know nothing about her whereabouts and stuff like that. Man, it's so calm.
No one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
In June of 2011, Stephen McDaniel killed his neighbor and classmate, Lauren Giddings. Apparently, he had a fantasy of committing the perfect murder, but this murder was anything but perfect, and he got caught pretty soon. So the day her body was found, Stephen actually was interviewed by a news station. Throughout his whole interview, he tries to act concerned and shocked by her disappearance.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. The only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her.
He also tries to make it seem like she got killed after going out for a run. But throughout the interview, he makes it clear that he knew far more about Lauren than he had let on. At one point, the interview informs him that her body was found. And you can see the moment that he realized he was screwed.
We just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there, right? So we don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
After taking a second to regroup himself, he continues on.
Nah, it wasn't the point of him trying to shock or anything. No, it was the whole point of trying to shock that he died. Can you take that out and put that up in the closet? So he was kind of like, how would I put this? My trader thought just left me with my son. He was acting, put like that.
On with the interview, but you can tell he knows he's been caught.
I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her.
That's crazy.
As nice a person as there is.
In 2014, McDaniel pleaded guilty to the murder. And if you guys are liking this video so far, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out part 1 to this video. Coming in at number 9, we have Wayne.
With a psychopath, I would argue that emotion is like being colorblind for them, and nothing we can do is actually going to instill a sense of empathy. This is really a waste of time.
This man, only referred to as Wayne, was the subject of the 2000 Channel 4 documentary titled Psychopath. Now, I couldn't find much about him besides what the documentary said, but apparently Wayne stabbed and killed someone that pissed him off. That still hasn't been verified, but that's what the rumors are. But what's startling is how he got an extremely rare score of 40 out of 40 on the psychopathy checklist. Like, this dude is on another level.
The therapists are wonderful. I learn a great deal from them. Sometimes it can be hard. I suppose that's the way it's supposed to be when you're growing up. I'm ready to go now. I know that decision will come from others who have already seen. They've seen my change.
It's creepy how he's trying to convince the therapist that he's fine and should be let out. In our 8th spot, we have the grave robber. Now, I for sure have talked about this video before, but it definitely deserves a spot on this list. This interview is with an unidentified teen from the 90s. In the video, he talks all about how he robs graves and then proceeds to tell us how to do it and how to do it so you don't get caught and what to do afterwards with the body parts.
Now, so what you do is you grab it around here. You grab it here and peel it back like that. Okay, peel it back. Right, and it'll pull off. It'll make a disgusting sound.
Throughout this whole video, he's holding a real-life skull that he robbed from someone's grave. Now, what's creepy about this video is that no one knows who this guy is. Rumor has it that the video surfaced on the dark web and later got leaked and then uploaded to YouTube, but we don't know for sure. Like, just look at how creepy this is.
Right, there's a piece of the brains. Let's see. Right, there's another piece of brains. If I had something wet here, I would wet them up and let you see how the brains look.
It's honestly very unsettling. And he also gives us tips for how not to get caught.
Never leave witnesses.
Go to your room.
You have to knock them out. Knock them out so that way they think it's a dream. It's best not to kill, but if it's necessary, do it.
Like, who is this video for? And why did he make it? Moving on to number 7, we have Edmund Kemper. Ed Kemper, also known as Big Ed, is an American serial killer who killed 10 individuals. It all started back in 1964 when Ed killed his grandparents at the age of 15. He claimed that he killed them just to see what it felt like.
Saying I'd wanted to kill my mother since I was 8 years old, and I'm not proud of that. It started with surrogates at a non-human level. Physical objects, my possessions, other people's, destruction of things that are cared about, and then destruction of things that are living on a lower level, small animals, insects, animals, and then finally people.
As he said in this interview, he literally had an urge to kill.
See, people would not understand that because what he's trying to bring out is that he tried little small objects, meaning birds and stuff like that, killing them. It makes him to visualize what the killing had to make him feel. So, then he went to the next thing. His grandparents, maybe somebody like friend. I won't believe. I would believe that he would kill his best friend or something like that. Sister or anything.
Since he was young. After the death of his grandparents, he was locked away for 5 years. Then in 1969, he was released at the age of 21. But he didn't learn his lesson because he went on to murder 8 more individuals, one of them being his own mother. Eventually, he was convicted again. Here we have him talking about his first murder, his grandparents.
It started coming to a head again, so I went back down. I ran away back down there. And then a month later, I'm up living with my grandparents in the mountains, and 10 months later, I murdered them. It made it worse to be on top of a mountain. I was literally on top of a mountain when it happened. And I sensed everybody in the world just stopping what they were doing, turning around, saw what I did, and are coming to get me. And I knew I was paranoid at that moment. I knew anybody that came up there and gave me a funny look or a fishy eye or a quizzical look, I'd have blown their brains out thinking they were coming to get me.
In our 6th spot, we have Kevin Davis. This interview is very disturbing to watch, so be warned. On March 27th, 2010, Kevin Davis killed his mother, Kimberly Hill. That morning, he asked his mom if he could take his own life, and Kimberly basically kind of just dismissed him. And that was not the answer he was hoping for. I guess he wanted his mother to, fight for him to live. So he ended up killing his mother instead. In this interview, he calmly tells exactly what he did to his mom. Every last detail.
I tried to strand her with a cord. With the cord from the video game console controller. That didn't work. She's sitting on the couch right now. That didn't work out too well. She started screaming, and so I went to her room, opened a drawer at the very bottom to the right. I pulled out a hammer.
Then you can guess what he did with that hammer. But it doesn't stop there.
When you reached in and grabbed the ring? Yeah, I kicked that a bit. Then I just, that was kind of silly. And yeah, I decided to change counters.
That is horrifying. But that's not all he did to his poor mother, but it's far too disturbing to talk about this case any further. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Liam McCatsney. On December 2nd, 2016, Sarah Stern went missing. Who's to blame for this? Her friends, Liam McCatsney and Preston Taylor. Basically, Liam had learned that Sarah had been left a large sum of money from her mother when she passed away. She told Liam about this, and Liam and Preston made a plan to kill her and then steal the money. But they were caught after a former friend secretly videotaped Liam's confession.
Yeah, and dude. Alright, so I'm hanging out with her. She has, he leaves the bank, she took some money out, not all of her money. We're counting it out, and then she goes to walk out the front door. I choke her out, drag her. My biggest problem is the dog.
So Liam had went to...
That's a beautiful young lady like that, and that could be that's somebody else's daughter that he took out, and it's pissing me off to the point that, like, I keep hearing these stories that their mother and father could die, then the kids would die, somebody murdered them or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's really pissing me off. You know, I have, PTSD and everything like that. When I close my eyes and my brain hurt and everything, and I think about stuff like that, that's crazy.
Sarah's house, strangled her, and then stole $9,000. Less than he thought there was, but that was because Sarah spent a lot of the money already. The saddest part is during the taping when he said exactly how he killed her.
It took me a half an hour to kill her. I thought I was going to be able to choke her out and have her out in like couple minutes.
After that, the two threw her body over a bridge. It's so disturbing. Like, Sarah thought that she could trust Liam. She never thought that he would take her life. Coming in at number 4, we have John Wayne Gacy. Chances are, you've heard of him. He was an American serial killer often called the Killer Clown. He got his name since he would dress up as Pogo the Clown for neighborhood events or children's parties. Over several years, Gacy murdered 33 people. In 1978, Gacy was finally caught. The interview you are about to see was the first time he ever did an interview about the case. It was filmed while he was on death row, and he did it to try and get people to see that he was innocent. He's not innocent though.
People don't want to know the truth and the honesty of it. If they want to be convinced or brainwashed into what they believe, then fine, then go ahead and kill me. But vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, because you will have executed somebody that didn't commit the crime.
He thinks people were brainwashed into thinking he killed those people, even though all the evidence suggests that he did. Like, they were found all over his property.
When they paint the image that I was this monster who picked up like these altar boys along the street and swatted them like flies, I said, this is ludicrous.
The craziest part of the interview is that Gacy claims to have taken a high amount of truth serum and even then maintained his innocence.
Taking 3.5 hours of truth serum. And under sodium amytal, the maximum amount that I could have, it shows that I have no knowledge of the crime whatsoever.
But there's absolutely no proof anywhere that he even took truth serum. So there you go. He's a creepy liar and killer. In our third spot, we have Michael Ross.
Well, I'm a serial killer. I've killed 8 women, 6 in this state and 2 in New York.
Michael Ross was an American serial killer that between 1981 to 1984 murdered 8 women.
There's a lot of stupid guys like this that technically doesn't only want to murder women. The easy road out. You feel what I'm saying? I don't like that. Who else would like that? You know what I mean? I'm trying to process this in my head, like, you know.
What's creepy is how in his interview, he just calmly straight up admits that he's a serial killer, as if it's no big deal. He then proceeds to say that it's only 8 women that he's killed. Other people have higher counts. It's as if he finds it okay because the number is small to him.
I'm not a big serial killer, by the way. 8 people, that's nothing. I mean, There's a lot of other guys you can go see.
Now, another part about this interview that creeps me out, much like the others on this list, is how he recounts the time he killed his victim.
I saw this woman walking along the road.
That creeps me out, much like the
This woman walking along the road with a
right there.
There's a lot of other guys you can go see.
Now, another part about this interview
He's laughing.
that creeps me out, much like the others on this list, is how he recounts the time he killed his victim.
I saw this woman walking along the road with a stroller. I pulled off the side of the road. She came into the driveway, walked up the driveway. I was behind the house. She saw me and I grabbed her.
On July 6, 1987, he was sentenced to death. He spent 18 years on death row and then was executed in May of 2005. Moving on, number 2, we have Gerard John Schaefer.
Mr. Schaefer, how long have you been imprisoned?
Since 1973.
And what are you accused of?
Well, do you mean what am I convicted of or what am I accused of? I'm accused of a lot more than I'm convicted of.
This guy is so arrogant, also very creepy. So Gerard Schaefer was a former sheriff's deputy that used his title to kill women. Now it's thought that he was a serial killer, but this has never been proved. But he was found guilty of murdering 2 women.
First, what are you accused of?
Well, I was accused of originally accused of killing 34 women, but nobody has ever managed to come up with 34 names, jurisdictions, or anything else. It's a false accusation.
So basically, on July 21st, 1973, Schaefer pulled over 2 girls who were hitchhiking, saying that it was illegal in the country, which it wasn't. He then drove them to a swamp area and tied them to a tree. But the girls were lucky. Schaefer was going to shoot them, but right before he was about to, he got a call on his police radio. So he went back to his car to check on it. And when he did, the girls managed to escape and report him. He was then arrested for unlawful imprisonment and aggravated assault. 2 months after he posted bail, he abducted 2 more female hitchhikers, but this time he actually took their lives.
And what is your conviction?
I was convicted of killing 2 in Fort Pierce. I was never shown to be at the crime scene.
Oh my God. That's where I stay at. In Fort Pierce. And Fort Pierce. I heard about this. He cut the heads off and then buried them.
There was never any link between me and the people that were killed, except the testimony of the mother of one of them.
He's so creepy. Also, notice that he barely blinks.
Imprisoned.
Since 1973.
And what are you accused of?
That's his name. That's
well, you knew of killing 2 in Fort Pierce. I was never shown to be at the crime scene. There was never any link between me and the people that were killed, except the testimony of the mother of one of them.
He's so creepy. Also, notice that he barely blinks. This guy just gives me the heebie-jeebies. In our number 1 spot, we have Issei Sagawa. This case is incredibly messed up and extremely dark. It literally made me feel sick to my stomach just researching about it. So Issei Sagawa is a Japanese man who in 1981 killed and ate a woman named Renee Hartveld in Paris. But he was never truly convicted of his crimes. He literally only spent 2 days in jail and then was sent back to Japan. And when he was there, he became famous. So famous that he made a living through the public's interest in his crime. Imagine that, literally becoming wealthy for killing someone.
I don't want to kill, but I couldn't find any way to eat the girl's meat fresh, so I thought I have to kill.
So Sagawa apparently had a fantasy to eat beautiful women. He apparently chose Renee because she was beautiful and he wanted to absorb her energy. On June 11th, 1981, he invited Renee over and shot her at the back of the neck. He then ate her over the next 2 days. Alright, that was pretty dark, so let's do our comment shoutouts. I'll be shouting out some comments from the video too.
Alright guys, y'all hit the subscribe and then hit the link. Alright. That's crazy.